Hi Seamus, Phil Beever here from the Wilderness Club. Just want to recap on our lesson yesterday. So it's watch you start loosening up. You've seen it really good, to be fair. There's a few things that obviously could do with some tweaks, and you can see here, you know I don't like this. This takeaway goes way too inside, but we're leaving that alone at the moment. Top of the swing, you know there's a few bits here that you and I would want to change together. Club face being 1, 2, left arm's a little bit folded, but you was ripping it, so we need to look at some things. Why, you know, you was hitting it very good enough to play and get to the handicap you want to, but you hit a few thin. Now the reason for that, if we look at your shaft at the moment, it's slightly what we call across the line, okay, which is fine. Now if we look at Justin here on the right, when he gets to the top of his swing, you're going to see his club used to go quite considerably across the line, so all he did was swing it shorter. And if we pull yours back a little bit, you'll see that your club is in a little bit better position there, but that's fine. When you start down, the problem is your shaft, for me, is too steep. So your shaft angle at this frame here is very, very steep. If we look at Justin as he starts down, we're going to see that his shaft is in a very, much more shallow position. If we keep looking at yours, it's still quite steep even to this point here. It's getting better, but if we look at, there we go. If we look at Justin's position there, so once his hands reach his same position as you, we'll see that his shaft is in the same position, but the difference is it just shallows a little bit earlier with Rose. So, and the lines match. If you look at the two lines I've drawn, they are parallel to each other, where yours are a little bit. So you're just having to work hard, Seamus, I feel, to try and get the club back online. And then what happens is, you're still fighting, because the club was steep early on, you're fighting to still what you feel shallow it out. So you're shallowing it out great, but you carry on going. And then what you do is you get this sort of dead frame here, as I call it, where the shaft now has gone behind you here. If we look at Rose, you'll see as he turns onto it, that club pulls back in front, okay, because he hasn't got to keep shallowing it. He shallows early and then pulls the club in front, where you're steep early and then you shallow and the club gets behind you. I hope that makes sense, but that's the reason why, if we get rid of these lines, for you, Seamus, you just come into it a little bit too sort of underneath, because you're trying to get the club a bit more behind you, but because it was steep to start with. The rest of the swing's pretty good. I just do honestly feel, one, I'd still love to change the top of your swing. If the club was a bit more laid off, obviously, like, the club would fall shallower down quickly. That's something we've struggled with, so I feel that if we can try and work on shallowing the club, and you did this very quickly yesterday, it'll make a huge difference. If you want to hit a draw, you've got to do a little bit of work on it, but I still feel for you with that swing, if you can shallow it and then turn hard, Seamus, left and across it sort of this way, you hit that lovely bullet cut. It just sort of softens out, beautiful looking shape. I think it's much more repeatable. It takes the whole left side out of the golf course out of play, and you haven't got to think about the club face. So let's get to the top of the swing normal. Let's try and shallow the club. So I gave you a feeling of standing behind a wall. Try and hit the wall early on in the downswing. We can see with you missed the wall. Okay. Where if we look at Justin, if we get him to the top there and we draw a line on him, you'll see that as he starts down, he clips the wall very close there, doesn't he? So it's all about that first move, just trying to shallow, where if you get further away from the wall. Okay. So work on that for me, and then turn across it hard left, and we should hit bullet cuts. And I look forward to getting